And now it's time for the ridiculous.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list?
A list?
You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.
Welcome to The Ridiculous. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we're back with more fun lists for you this week. Sally, how are you feeling?
You know what? I feel great. I feel a little tired. I feel
You guys,
a little tired.
Let me just tell you, don't ever let it be said that Sally Sally Chaffin Brooks is not the best friend on the planet. No easy way to say it. I am single now. Let's just say that. With your breakup as of yesterday. It's all good. It's for the best. We handled it like mature adults. Nobody did anything bad. It's just like that's the best part about dating when you're at my age is like it's just like sometimes you're like, wow, this just like our personalities just don't work. Like, you like to stay home. I like to go do things, things like that. And it's like,
you don't like pizza.
Schedules
I like
don't
pizza.
Work. Yes. I like eating food. You don't. It's like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's all good and it's for the best and there's no hurt feelings. But of course, like, on day one, you need a friend to come over and eat Thai food with you and drink how many bottles of wine?
All the wine.
I do remember at some point going into the basement being like, no, I've got other stuff I want you to try. Hold on.
I thought you were like being like, I'm done for the night. And then you were like, I'll be right back.
I was like, okay, so I have these three. You pick. What are you feeling? And poor Sally's like, please, for the love of God, let me go home.
No, I was having a great time.
It was awesome. It was exactly what I needed. And I, woke up today and I'm a new person and onward and upward. That's all I can say.
I know.
So,
yeah. Well, fellas.
I'll be single for a while. But it's all good. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming over. I like immediately it's just like, okay, I'll come over. And like it just like was there within the hour, and we had Thai food and lots of wine, and it was wonderful and it was amazing. And that's why you need good girlfriends in your life.
It is why. For sure. Because I mean, one, you have shown up for me in the same way many times. So, and I know you show up for all of your other friends in the same way.
Well, I always have wine.
You always have wine. You always have wine. You're always like just with your little wheelie bag.
Yeah.
You're like, here I am. I'm here. I'm here to make you feel better about whatever is happening in your life. Are we celebrating? Are we commiserating? Either way, I have wine.
And honestly, it was a little bit of both. But like we tied, we cried, we laughed, we had a great, at the end of it was cathartic night, and like I said, onward and upward. So
onward and upward. You're like, I do think that is, like you said, it's the beauty of dating at this age, because it was like, oh, here's something that makes sense. It doesn't really make sense for us to be together. And you had that talk and then you broke it off. You guys broke it off. And it's like, how mature is that rather than like just how many relationships, I mean, how many people did I date when I was younger where we just kept trying.
Yeah.
We liked each other, so we just kept going for it. And it's like, oh, no, nobody has that time.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. I think it's like because of our age, we're just like, we don't have time to waste years on trying to figure it out and make it work. If it's not working out, then it's just not. But like, it doesn't mean that, the other person isn't like a lovely person.
Yeah.
And you care for one another and you wish each other well. It's just sometimes it's just like personalities are different. Not every person in the world can be the the right person for you.
Do you think that you guys broke up because last week I did the 75 best breakup songs? Do you think that I made this? Do you think that I made this happen? I'm so sorry.
This is all your fault again, Sally. My divorce was your fault. My breakup with Jim was your fault. Everything's your fault, Sally. You just don't want me to be happy.
Nope.
You just love Thai wine and cry night so much that you're keeping me on this loop.
That's why I'm over so quickly. I'm just waiting outside your door.
You just want to go out dancing.
I'm like, I know
you're like,
that when Jen is single, statistically she dances more. So
we're gonna dance, and then we're gonna go run a karaoke room, and we're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, I'm like, this is it's really about me. It's all about me. Now it all comes out. All right. Well, should we get to our list?
Let's do it. So I'm going first this week. I actually had a different list, but then when I read it this morning, I was like, oh, this is going to sound like I chose this on purpose. Like the list was something like people state what like the 20 biggest personal boundaries are when dating. No. It's going to sound way too loaded.
Eight ladies named Jen
sound off on what they will and won't put up with.
What are their breaking points?
And I hope you're listening, God. No, I'm just joking. No, so I decided to go in a different direction and keep it light and fun and airy. And this one is, this is a BuzzFeed article compiled by Abby Zinman, and it is 24 times people ran into a celebrity and had the funniest, weirdest, or worst experience possible. So basically, an experience.
Yeah. 24 people ran into celebrities.
Yeah, and this is what they said. Which is always fun.
Got to write it. Yeah.
It's always fun, hearing I love hearing celebrity stories, and I like getting confirmation on like who's cool and who's not cool.
Yeah, I love a celebrity in the wild story, like from not like this isn't an interview that's scripted. This is just like some random person on TikTok being like, "Oh my god, one time I was a waitress and I waited on like the three people from the Jersey Shore, and they were so nice."
We meet a lot of celebrities being a famous podcaster. No, we meet a lot of celebrities as comedians because a lot of famous people come through the clubs every now and then when they want to work out stuff. Mm-hmm. And then back when I sold designer shoes in New York City, the boutique that I worked in, we had a lot of celebrity shoppers. My favorite was Parker Posey. She was absolutely amazing and was every bit of who you would think that she would be.
Yeah.
Like
that's
silly,
so
goofy,
satisfying.
funny. And then Minnie Driver was so sweet and so lovely. And I ruined her boots on accident. And she was really nice about it. But I'll always remember those boots that I ruined. So,
were they just amazing boots?
They were these really amazing, like gold leather, like knee-high boots.
Yeah.
Like with heels. They were like $1,200 boots. And she bought them, and then she asked me to spray like a lot of, especially in New York, people that want their boots to be like weather sprayed or whatever, like protected. And there was something wrong with the nozzle when I went to spray it, and all the water, like all the liquid dripped out of it and fell in like big clumps all over the boot, and we couldn't fix it. And that was the only boot in her size.
Yeah.
They were like, I couldn't replace them. So we just returned them for her. And she was just like, that's too bad. But thank you. And it was just like, thanks for being nice to me, Minnie Driver. She was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I think
amazing.
we've talked about celebrities before. The worst celebrity I ever met, though, was Rachel Ray. For sure.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's an asshole.
Yeah. I'm trying to
she was
think
just really rude to me and my staff when she came in shopping. But
the worst celebrity I ever worked with was Tom Arnold, and I don't mind saying that.
I can totally see that. He
was just a real like dismissive prick. Like it was like, this was like a full weekend of shows and I was featuring for him and he was bombing every night. I would like to say for the record that he was like,
I'm not surprised about that either.
Yeah, he was bombing and he never learned my name. He kept calling me that girl. Give it up for that girl.
Oh my God. What a fucking asshole.
And then he asked me to like help sell his merch. And I was like, no.
Was he a stand-up before he was on Roseanne or with Roseanne or what?
I don't
That's
know.
It's so annoying for us for stand-ups when it's like people get famous by in other ways and then decide to do stand-up because they can get away with literally just saying anything and talking and people will buy tickets to it. And it sucks for like people that actually like spend many years like developing an act and jokes and well-written jokes. And then it's like, but then dipshit with a TikTok just sold out the Cobb Energy Center. So annoying.
No, that's his actual name. That's his actual handle dipshit with a TikTok.
I can't stand dipshit with a TikTok. All right,
he's all over my FYP.
Oh, God, I don't even know what that means. I watched a TikTok today just because I go on there because of our thing.
Yeah,
and because of our thing, our account, and I like went on it, and there was like a girl doing a video about like. This one girl said, don't hashtag your FY, but then why is she on my FYP and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't understand any of the words that are coming out of your mouth. Am I supposed to know this? Like, do I need to take a TikTok course?
No.
I think I do.
The FYP is your For You page. So it's the one, it's the videos. Mean? So if you look, it's like the videos, most videos you get shown are just ones suggested to you. They're not like,
your
people
friends
you follow. So it's like follow. Okay. You can look at your videos of people you follow, or a different column is like video FYP. And you want to get on the FYP because you want strangers to see your TikToks.
So that's why people hashtag FYP.
I guess so. I don't know. I haven't had any success with any of it. So
I know.
I think TikTok is a wasteland right now. I'm just like,
it is.
Like I have I have a lot of followers and none of them ever see my videos. So I'm like, I don't know. I just am like, what color should I paint my shed? Like that's what I'm doing now. I'm just like, oh, fuck it.
Just talk. Yeah. What did they say?
White.
What color should you paint your shed?
Just paint it white. Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, so this first one says, I guess it's by the person that wrote the article. So before we get into the Reddit answers, let's start with my story. I met Emma Roberts at a steakhouse in downtown Toronto. We chatted, took photos, and of course I told her how much I love aquamarine. I don't know what that is. Because yes, I'm a very basic Gen Zer. She was so sweet and actually chatted with us for a few minutes. That's nice.
That's nice.
That's nice. This one says, I went to university with Rachel McAdams. She was in the theater program. She lived in my residence building and we were casual friends in an extended friend group. She was super nice and everyone knew she was going to be a star. We called her Hot Rachel. Not sure if she even knew that, but she was definitely hot and definitely a genuinely great person to be around. After I graduated, I ended up seeing Mean Girls at the theater and was blown away that I actually knew her. Now, many years later and many movies later, for her, I'm just super happy that she made it. She really deserves the life she has. Hot Rachel McAdams. That's awesome.
Do you think there was a not hot Rachel? Do you think there was we were differentiating between Rachels?
I think there was probably like 7 Rachels, and then she was the hot one, and all the other Rachels, were
like tall Rachel
about it. Yeah,
Rachel F, Rachel G,
right.
Well, I like
a Heather's type situation.
Yeah. I like her. Have you seen I know I've talked about this before, but have you watched About Time yet?
No, I know you told me about it, but for some reason looking at the movie I was like, I'm going to cry. I don't.
Oh yeah, you're going to cry.
Okay, if a movie is hinting at the fact that there might be tears, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, well when you need to get out some emotions, watch it. It's also very sweet and loving and you'll be happy, but also, yes, it's sad. All the things.
We'll see. Have to be in the right mood. What's funny because like the only other movie that I watched knowing that it was going to be a sad movie and I like watched it cathartically was The Notebook, which is also a Rachel McAdams movie. She just really gets you.
Yeah, it's not as like tear jerky. Like it's not as manipulative as The Notebook, I will say.
Okay, like trying to make you cry.
Yes, I feel like The Notebook is just like, here, cry. Like here, we're going. It's like a Hallmark commercial, or like something
right, or Publix commercial about making Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes, exactly.
This one says, I love this. This says, I talked to Robin Williams on the phone once when I was working a call center for Apple in 2013. He was having trouble syncing his mail app with his email provider. Very nice man. And this other person wrote, I ran into Robin Williams when I was 13. Spilt his coffee and my juice all over him. Also cried and blubbered about how much I loved him in his movies. He was so genuinely kind and patient and made me love him all the more. Aww.
Yeah, that's very
Robin
sweet.
Williams.
I am friends with Bobcat Goldthwait, who he and Robin Williams were best friends.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've like knew each other from when they started stand up, and they were, like very close friends best friends. And but yeah, I mean, the stories that he tells about Robin Williams, it's like, yeah, he was a genuinely incredible person.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did go see his, speaking of sad cry movies.
Mm-hmm.
I one time went and saw, I shouldn't even be saying this out loud. I went and saw What Dreams May Come, which is a movie about like the whole family dying and some going to heaven and some going to hell. And I watched it on acid. I went to the movie theater. God, my mom's listening to this. Caroline, I'm sorry. It was a phase, a short-lived phase. But I was
Caroline
just
knew.
What? Because me and my friend, well, I don't want to out him, but we, what possessed us to do that, and why that movie?
I was gonna say that's an odd choice.
Yeah, we left feeling very weird for days. I think
I am unsettled.
Yeah. Number 4 says, I served Aretha Franklin when I worked in retail. Very sweet woman. She bought her staff leather jackets. That's so sweet.
I love that. She bought her staff leather jackets.
This one says, I ran into, this one says, Simu Liu. Years ago, he hosted a community mental health workshop that our siblings met there, and he's so cool and kind. I love that because he's also very good looking.
Yeah.
He's hot. He was one of the Kens on the Barbie movie, and he's Shang-Chi. Am I saying it right? Shang-Chi. My kids love that movie, but yeah. He looks like he's like really hot, but he also looks like he'd be so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just saying.
He looks like he'd be a really good listener.
He looks like he might love me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
This is really warm hugs.
He's probably 24 years old. Oh, he's 35. That's not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, this one says, I ran into Mark Wahlberg at a rave /club after hours in the early 2000s. He was an absolute dick, and I regretted my brief encounter with him. That does not surprise me at all.
That doesn't surprise me either. I feel like that is like
Tom Brady loving motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care about Tom Brady. I just remember the only time I ever cared about football in my life was when it was like the Falcons versus the Patriots or what. Yeah. Is that the band? I don't know. Is that the team's name? But I remember Mark Wahlberg being at the Super Bowl and just looking all stupid and smug.
Tom Brady loving motherfucker.
I truly give a fuck about Tom Brady. No, but I do find him to be funny in all those like buddy movies with like Will Ferrell and stuff. He does make me laugh, and like I want it to believe that he's a good person, but I'm not surprised that he's a jerk. Plus, like there was all that controversy of like shit that he did before when he was younger, like hate crimes.
Right. I was gonna say also.
Yeah.
I think he's not a good person, verifiably. Like,
yeah,
he has an arrest record that would prove otherwise.
Okay, this one says, I bummed a cigarette off Jeremy Allen White on Sunday. He was at the hotel bar my girlfriend works out, on the phone most of the time. Seemed sort of introverted but polite. Gave me a dart and a friendly nod, and probably appreciated not having his fame acknowledged. It sounds like just an exchange. Like not like noteworthy at all. It's
right.
like, yeah, I saw him. Like, I guess you bummed a cigarette? I don't know.
I mean, I find it annoying that somebody is calling a cigarette a dart. I find that annoying. I find that pretentious.
Oh.
Like,
yeah,
I bummed
that is
a dart.
stupid. I didn't know that. I didn't even realize that that's what the cigarette was. I thought a dart was like a look or something. I don't know. I'm so old, you guys. This one says, Neil Young on the subway late at night. I said hi and he said hi. I asked for a selfie and he waved bye. LOL. I don't blame Neil Young for that. It's like late at night on it's just like, let me get home, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this one says, Laura Dern in an elevator. She had sunglasses on, but she spoke to my kids who were arguing over who would press the button. If she hadn't spoken, I wouldn't have recognized her. She was so nice. My kids and I had just stepped into the elevator and they couldn't decide who should pick a floor. Then she walked in and she said, how about if I pick this one? And all three of us stayed quiet. I knew it was her then, unmistakable voice. And then she said, I took a deep breath and said, nice to see you here, Miss Dern. And she said, thank you, and got off the floor saying, have a great day, guys, with a smile. That's sweet.
That's nice. I mean, I like that. Very polite. We're not like making a big deal about a celebrity. Because have you seen, okay, you know who like Chapel Roan is, right? She's like,
yeah,
star, right? She was just saying like, she was getting some backlash because she wasn't like taking pictures with fans. And I mean, she's huge right now. And she has like all of these like young fans who I'm sure she gets bombarded, and people were like, she wouldn't take a picture with me. And she's like, you don't know me. Like, you don't know me, and I don't owe you a hug or like I don't owe you my time. Like, you came to my concert, I provided the thing. And then like, I mean, just the like, the demand on her. I was like, yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that. I mean, I think there's a difference between being like a dick in like the wild, just being and also not wanting to like always engage with fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because like I didn't know who she was, but for some reason, like on Instagram, I keep getting fed all these like videos of Selena Gomez being gracious and amazing, and then Chapel Roan being a bitch or something. It's like they're constantly trying to like show. And then there was a whole thing about like I kept getting shown these like videos of Blake Lively being a dick during interviews, and then another person being so lovely during interviews. And it's just so annoying that they have to constantly like compare women like that.
Right.
And make everybody look like, they're crazy. My friend Kristen, Kristen, she had a like when I was telling her about that, she was like, oh yeah, that's just like them trying to like right now it's all about keeping women down and making women look catty and shitty. And so that's why like there's all these like videos on all over social media showing like one person being terrible, but this person's great.
Right. Well, I mean, that's
exactly
that gets
what
clicks.
I'm doing. I'm reading this list of like, I'll tell you who's nice and who's, oh my God. Wow. That was a moment of self-realization.
Listen, it gets clicks.
I don't like how all these people are comparing people. It's just not nice. So Bryan Adams,
oh man,
This one says Brian Adams met him randomly while getting on an elevator. He asked me which floor and made small talk. Absolute sweetheart. Isn't it funny how like when you want a celebrity to be amazing, the smallest thing is like, what an amazing sweetheart. Like he like just said, what floor are you on?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's the best. This one says, I talked to Anne Hathaway mid-2000s. I think Brokeback Mountain was premiering during the Toronto International Film Festival. She was doing early morning photo shoots at like 6 a.m. I stumbled into the middle of a shoot and a guard stopped me. As I was looking to turn, there Anne was. She asked if I worked down in the area and I mumbled temporarily. She asked for a good coffee place and pastries the crew could get after, and I held up my lunch bag and said, my mom makes my lunch, so I'm the last guy to know. And she actually laughed a little and said I was lucky, and then the guard waved me through. See, people shit on. I've always been a stan for Anne.
Yeah.
I've said it on this podcast multiple times. People always shit on her, but I think she's like a lovely, beautiful, classy human being. And like, I don't know why there's so much hate against and jealousy. They're jealous.
They jealous
of her.
bitches.
Yeah.
They're jealous because you're pretty.
Yeah. That's what I remember when my sister was like her first couple of days of working at this law firm. And she was like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time just like clicking with any of the women. Like, you know, I'm the new person, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, because they're jealous of how beautiful you are. That's the problem. They're jealous of your beauty. This says, I was working as a barista at Starbucks when Renee Zellweger came in. She ordered her drink as I was bussing the condiment stand. I offered to show her around Toronto. She politely declined. Gotta shoot your shot. That's awesome. Good for you. Who's Margaret Atwood is the author, right?
Yeah.
She wrote Handmaid's Tale. This is Margaret Atwood more than once. Rude, unpleasant, miserable creature. Hopefully her fame from the Handmaid's Tale made her a happier person, but I doubt it.
Well,
Interesting.
I mean, but also like no
she's not
details.
like a celebrity. Like, I mean, she's a celebrity writer, but I feel like when you're like an author, you shouldn't be expected to.
Right. Like who knows what any author looks like? Is there an author that you could be like, oh, I know what that I
David
don't think
Sedaris. That's it.
Yeah, but he's also like personality. Yeah, I'm trying to maybe Stephen King. Maybe.
Yeah, Stephen King. But now, like, I guess the person that wrote it's like Colleen Hoover, I think her name. The person that wrote that it ends with us. Everybody knows who she is. I wouldn't
be able to pick her. Yeah, out of a crowd. She just looks like a normal white lady.
This one says, I once took a chicken order over the phone from Donald Sutherland himself. He's a whole chicken dinner guy.
That this is like a case
He's
of
like,
I had an interaction with a celebrity once.
I know. He's like, man, just let me eat my chicken. Now I've got to be the chicken guy because I eat chicken like every other human being. This says, I was on a catamaran in Miami and saw Jackie Chan eating a banana in his backyard. I said, damn, that's Jackie Chan. He heard me and hid behind a tree. It's like, let him eat a banana.
Right, in his own backyard. He wasn't out in public.
Yeah. Oh, this one's interesting. Okay. Because I've heard some mixed reviews on Elizabeth Moss, but it says Elizabeth Moss. She lived in Toronto when filming The Handmaid's Tale. I was supposed to just be dropping off camera equipment for her, and when I arrived, she was busy and asked if I could come later. She gave me her personal phone number to arrange a better drop-off time. I still have it. When I came back the next day, she invited me inside to help her set the equipment up. I was trying to not fangirl out too much and play it cool, but she was super friendly and also very professional and down to earth. And she came to the door in her pajamas. Okay. Like, okay, again, these are just like...
Sounds like a work interaction.
You know, I get, as much as I love these BuzzFeed articles and I love all my BuzzFeed writers, Abby, it sounds like you were just really trying to like make a deadline here. And you were like, those all sound great. I'll go with that. This says, I spotted Halle Berry on the patio during Toronto Film Festival. To be clear, I saw someone thought that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and sometime later realized it was Halle. That's so funny. That happened to me with and that's the last of it. But that happened to me when I saw Kenya Moore from Real Housewives.
Oh, really?
At Cirque du Soleil. I was just like, oh my God, that's the most stunning woman I've ever seen in my life. And then I was like, holy fuck, that's Kenya Moore. But she like in person was just like stunningly beautiful. Like, not even human. Yeah. So that's funny. But that's it. I'm sorry. That list was like not that cool. Marky Mark's a dick. That's the only thing we figured out. I don't know. You guys, they can't all be winners. But I'm hoping you have something better for us, Sal.
Have I talked about this on the podcast? I probably have. I feel like I tell the same stories over and over. But I had this.
I don't remember a Halle Berry story.
I had my science teacher, my like chemistry teacher in high school was this like nerdy white dude, and his name was Mr. Corzan, and he told us that Halle Berry was his cousin.
Oh, really?
And I was just like took it at face value because like she's like biracial, and so he was like, oh yeah, Halle Berry's my cousin, and like I don't know whether it's true or not, but at my 20th high school reunion, we all like got drunk, and then like everybody who was there for my class, we just like wandered the halls. And we were like past his class, and I was like, "Oh, Mr. Corzan's class," and I was like, "You guys remember how like Halle Berry's his cousin?" And like it was like I like scratched a record because everyone turned and looked at me. They're like, "The fuck are you talking about? Like that is not true." And I was like, "He said it," and they were like, "Do you not think he was joking?" I was like, "He said it."
Oh my God. That's something I totally would have done. I remember one time I was like, oh yeah, did you know that like Zach was in Stomp the Yard? And like this was like my ex-husband. I like said to my friend Patty, like I was like, yeah, you know Zach was an extra in Stomp the Yard? And Patty just like turned around and looked at me. He's like, no, idiot. He was in this. I was like, no, you said he was. Like, you don't think he was fucking with you? I was like, was he? Why would he do that?
Why? Why would that happen?
So I probably told 1,000 people Zach was in Stomp the Yard.
I told so many people about my nerdy chemistry teacher who's Halle Berry's cousin.
Well, but it was about on here how I thought I was convinced until I was like 23 years old that I had met Pee Wee Herman until my mom overheard me telling that story, and she was like, "What? That was an impersonator." At a kid's birthday party, and was like, no, my rich friend Erica, she had Pee Wee Herman come to her party.
Ding dongs.
Yeah.
All right, so I brought something especially for you, Jen. This is my little present for you. It is from BuzzFeed, compiled by Krista Torres, and it is: these nightmare tenant stories will be enough to convince you to never be a landlord.
Seriously, I already just like got anxiety as soon as you said that. Really? My whole body was like, oh, trigger warning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, kidding. I'd love to hear this. No. I'm sure. Yeah. No. I want you to share these stories because I want everyone to feel really bad for me.
You should. Jen's job is very hard.
Thank you.
Okay. A tenant got evicted for building a turtle habitat without permission. They started a turtle breeding business and flooded the basement with maybe 6 inches of water, the entire basement. It was a concrete floor, but there was still drywall on the wall, and it was ruined. Ugh. Oh my God. I had a friend who had a turtle, and they are like the stinkiest things ever. Like if you don't constantly bathe that turtle, it's so disgusting.
I never had a turtle, but I remember like every year for like 10 years growing up, I was like, I want a turtle for my birthday. I want a turtle for my birthday. And my parents were always like, no. But I mean, as a parent, as an adult, I'm like, no, you're not. We've already done all the like. I probably still have some whatchamacallit, hermit crabs walking around my house right now. I don't know where they are. I don't know what happened to them. And then like we've done all that. If my kids, they've asked me for a kimono dragon and like all that stuff. And if they asked me for a turtle, I would just ignore them until they change their minds.
Yeah, I mean, you're a better parent than I am. We've never gotten 0 pets. Max just got a Tamagotchi. I'm like, there you go.
Ooh.
Have fun. Stop
Perfect.
it beeping.
Yeah.
I like put it under his pillow because I was like, why won't it stop beeping?
Those things, I know.
Yeah.
At least it's not going to shit on your floor. So that's good.
Thank God. Yeah. I don't. Okay. When I was living in a dorm, I'm sorry. Trigger warning, poo. When I was living in a dorm, there was a mysterious case of a small plastic bag filled with poo appearing on a tree in front of the dorm building overnight. A student didn't want to use the shared dorm restroom, so he did his business in small plastic bags. Instead of discarding those, he decided to throw the bags out his window into a tree at night. It didn't go well with the facility management of the dorm, and he lost his dorm room. What?
Oh my God. Can you imagine if that was your child that like got kicked out of his dorm for shitting in a bag and throwing it out the window? What would you even say to that?
Like, oh God. So you're just shitting in your room? Okay.
God.
My dad was a landlord, and one of the tenants tore out the cabinet doors and replaced them with chicken wire and put chickens in the cabinets.
Oh my God.
People are out of control.
They are.
I mean, I think our worst tenants were usually people who like had animals but didn't say they had animals. Like we had people who like we'd go to like they'd move out and we'd be like, oh, there's like cat shit. And they were not supposed to have animals. And, a lot of that. Sometimes they'd have like people living there that weren't on the lease, and we'd find out later. I'd be like, oh, it's just my cousin was staying with us for a little bit. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
You were renting this out.
I mean, I've just had so many weird things over the last like 15 years, but
yeah.
I know like one guy wrote like 666 all over the door, like every wall and the doors. When girl Airbnb'd her apartment, but she marketed it as the Pink Palace. So she covered every inch of every wall, every appliance, every countertop, anything you could see. Yeah. Covered it with this like pink glitter, like wallpaper or like sticker paper.
Yeah.
And it
like the peel and
ruined
stick kind of
everything. And like you can't get that money back. Damages, like you keep their deposit, but it's like you'll never be able to get that money to pay for what it really costs to fix it. Yeah. People just, they do all kinds of crazy stuff.
The Pink Palace. That's amazing.
I know.
I had to evict someone for not using the shower curtain. They took a long shower and flooded their bathroom, which ran down and flooded the apartment below them. We lost the downstairs tenant as well.
That happens all the time. All the time. Yeah. Like it's so crazy to me that people don't understand that you need to have a shower curtain, or it's like, or you have to explain to people and say like, you have to have like the liner, and the liner stays inside the tub so the water doesn't get. It happens all the time, and they'll lie to you and they'll say, yeah, no, I have a shower curtain, and then I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna come check, and then there's no shower. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
That's so wild.
I
mean, isn't your floor just constantly wet? That's crazy.
People don't give a fuck.
My sister used to have some duplexes she rented out. One tenant was several months late on payments, and numerous times the tenant promised she was working to get the money. My sister was being nice because the tenant was in a hard spot. One day, she went to visit, and the tenant had a brand new tattoo sleeve all the way down her arm. When confronted about why the money wasn't used to pay rent, the tenant said they really wanted the tattoo. The eviction process started immediately.
That like I can't even think in those terms anymore when it comes to like seeing tenants and like, like not understanding how they don't have rent money, but seeing them out on the town, things like that. I just like I can't even go there. It's just like, but it is wild to me that people don't like. in my mind, like my mortgage comes before anything, or
Yeah,
like
it's
my
like-
rent would always come before
Mhm.
anything. That's your home. Like that's the first thing you pay. So it's so crazy to me how like that, how that's like number 8 or 9 on people's lists,
Right.
you know?
Well, and especially, I mean, in Georgia, you can get evicted so quickly. It's like 7 days. It's so quick. You like don't pay your rent. I mean, it's a little longer than that, but like once they've filed the eviction,
process takes
yes,
forever.
the process does. But I just mean like a lot of people ignore, and then they don't even realize that somebody has filed an eviction on them. And it's like once you've got that order, they're out. Like so, if you ignore it, and people just I'm with you. Okay. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why people can't pay the rent, but if it's like if you're choosing not to, reminds me of our friend Greg Barron's joke where he's like talking about how like he's obviously bad with money. He was like, obviously I'm like covered in tattoos. These are all just times when I had $80 to
right.
Like, yeah, or something. It's funnier than I said it. Okay. All right. My ex-tenant was growing weed in the house and other tenants were complaining. I called and told him to get rid of it. I don't care about it being illegal, but I had to take the complaints from the other tenants seriously. He said he would get rid of it, but then a couple of days later, the other tenants called and said the plant was still there. So I met him and said if he could. All right. So I met him and said, if you don't get rid of the plant, I'm calling the cops. He said, call them. So I did. He was arrested and evicted.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, what a ding dong.
I know. That happens a lot too. It's like, dude, there's so many like vapes and stuff now. Like you don't, and there's vapes and edibles. Like you can get high. You don't have to smoke weed in your apartment.
Right. Just like it's illegal. It's illegal in this state. My tenant fell asleep making bacon and lit the entire house on fire.
That's some of the biggest fire build, like knock on wood, like I'm like knocking on every piece of wood. I'm like, nope, that's probably particle board. Better do. Like there have been some like major building fires in Atlanta over the last couple of years. Like one building in particular is a building that I managed for a very long time and it had burned down before and then it was rebuilt. Then I managed it for a long time. And then a couple of years ago, that building burned down and it all was just because somebody thought that they put their cigarette out. Like it was a cigarette in an ashtray on a porch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They just didn't put it out properly. And 12 units. No, I think that's 24 units down there. 24 units. Everybody lost their homes, including like my friend Malik, who had been living there for like 10 plus years. His whole life was in that apartment. Yeah. It's all just like one person's stupid mistake.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, even it's like, oh, they didn't just like put a cigarette out on a couch or something. It's like they thought they put it out. Like that anybody could be outside too. That's wild. A guy I knew got evicted from university housing because he was using the fire sprinkler head as the endpoint of a clothesline. This broke the sprinkler head and flooded half the 4th floor and every apartment underneath down to the base level. Holy shit. People, I mean, it is, just such ding dongs. Evicted someone because he was running the shower nonstop to humidify his apartment. He believed that it was his right since hot water was included in his rent. His apartment was so humid that he had both mold and mushrooms growing in every corner. The building's water bill had increased by $500 in the 3 months he lived there.
I had a tenant.
If you're not watching this, Jen is just like nodding to everyone. You're like, this is not surprising.
I had a tenant do that. And we had to give him a bunch of like reminder, like his whole apartment was covered in mold. And we're like, how though? And we realized it was like, he was like leaving every door shut and then like leaving water on or whatever. And it was just crazy. And then, his apartment was so disgusting. And then there was another person who, This was fairly recent. It was, I remember because I was at a basketball game. I was trying to enjoy myself, but I kept getting all these text messages. It was a guy that kept saying that his apartment was like not hot enough. It wasn't hot enough. And it's like, it's the winter, dude. Like, you're not going to get it above 70, if it's like, if it's 20 degrees outside. And it's like, you're not dying. Like, it is working. It's just not as hot as you want it to be. So his carbon monoxide detector went off because he was, in order to give his house more heat, he was boiling water on the stove. So he had 4 pans of water boiling and all of the gas turned on permanently all night long. And then he almost died of carbon monoxide poisoning, and the carbon monoxide detector went off, and he was texting me. I was like, call the police, like call the fire department.
Why are you texting
And I was like, get out of your apartment right now. If your carbon monoxide detector is going off. And he told me that it's because he's been having to boil water to make his apartment hotter. It's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That is,
I know,
so dumb. Put on a sweater. Idiot.
I know, it's crazy. Like, he could have killed himself and other people in the building. I know. It was, so
that's crazy. Okay, I'll do one more.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast. I'm sure he doesn't.
Hey, if you are listening, you're an idiot.
He should be moved out in the next couple of days, actually. So.
Oh God, this was recent. Jesus. Okay, not me, but one of my college friends was evicted by his landlord because he was fucking the landlord's daughter.
Oh, there you go. Can you evict somebody for that?
I didn't know you could do that. Not legally, but
It's so funny.
All right, well, that's my list. I thought it would be, cathartic for you, but I feel like it was very triggering.
It was. Make me work when I'm not working.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's like, it's nothing shocks me. I'm all of them. Yeah. Like, sounds right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are disgusting.
Another day. Yeah.
You're like, those aren't even bad.
I know.
Oh, all right.
Cool. Lists of Fury. Yes.
This week we are doing our top 5 movies that scare the shit out of us as kids.
Yeah. So they're not necessarily all horror movies, but they're just, we should not have, watched them as children, or they fucked with us as children, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay, I will go first. And this is not even something that I watched. I just got very upset by the commercials and the previews that I saw in other movies, and it was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay,
and
yeah.
That very much, like, I was like, oh, he can get you in your dreams. And it scared the shit out of me.
That was by far, to me, the scariest, like, of all the horror movie villains, was like, because you can't run from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get you. Freddy's going to get you. I know. I was terrified of Freddy Krueger.
I was too. And when you look at it now, you're like, oh my God, it's so cartoonish. It's like,
I know.
Yeah, it's like barely a horror movie.
I learned to think that they're funny and whatever, but I was really affected by. I have that on my list as number 3, and I remember it was like, just my sister would watch it, and then my brother, who's younger than me, would watch it with her, and just the idea of it being on a television somewhere in my house, I like couldn't even handle that. I was just like terrified because I was like, he's going to get our house if we're watching it on our TV.
And then I'm like, don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. Yeah.
I know.
It's frightening.
Yes. My number 5 is actually, I talked about this briefly last week. The movie Return to Oz, which is like, I watched it as a child because it's supposed to be like the sequel, if you will, to Wizard of Oz in a different way. So like, I watched it thinking that that's what I was going to get. And it's actually like a very dark, weird, scary movie. Yeah. And there's like some light-hearted parts, but it's also very dark. But there was like the villain lady in Return to Oz was terrifying, and her like room full of different heads scared the shit out of me. There were just so many points in that movie that I was just like, this isn't what I came for.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really remember. I don't remember watching that as a kid. But yeah, I can see how that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 4 is the Leprechaun.
Oh yeah. I hate leprechauns. All of them. I don't like any of them.
Used to have a reoccurring dream that there was a leprechaun like was on underneath my car, and then I would walk to my car and they would slip my Achilles tendon.
Oh, that happened in in a Stephen King book.
Did it? Maybe I saw it in
Pet
that.
Cemetery. Yeah. The little kid like did that to his dad.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's where that came from.
So that probably got
they got crossed. It was
in your memory.
In my memory, because I did watch Pet Cemetery. Yeah.
Oh, that I should have put on here too.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery scared me. Oh, I was like, I couldn't handle the like. Well, the movie was scary, but then it was like the idea of the like little boy getting hit by a car. It was just like too much for me to like wrap my child brain around. That whole movie
so dark.
With me. Yeah.
It's so dark. Yeah.
I know. Okay, my next one is It.
That's my next one
the
too.
The TV series.
Yes.
Yeah. It was so scary. And I haven't read the book, but I've heard that the book is like 1,000 times darker and scarier. And I was like, how does it get darker and scarier than that TV series?
It was marketed at the time as like a family TV series. I mean, everybody watched it. Everybody like I know like
ABC
watched it
at 8 p.m.
Yes. Like we watched. I just remember being like, this is every person our age as a kid is fucked up as an adult because of it.
I'll never forget this. Even my nieces and nephews. I think I've talked about this on the podcast too. But we were all at like a family mountain home thing for some reason. It was like me and like my family, and all of a sudden my nephew comes running up the stairs, and he was like, "Mom!"
And I was like, what word? And he was like, the word. And I was like shit. Fuck, goddamn, like, what's the word? And then he was like, Pennywise. Because I forgot, because my sister-in-law was like, Preston, you know you're not supposed to say that word. And I was like, what is it? You know,
what
until I think I was like,
fuck? What'd you say, cunt? What'd you
was it cunt? Did you say cunt? And then he was like, apparently they were banned from saying the word Pennywise in the house because it just upset the kids too much just to even say the word.
Yeah.
You know, like Bloody Mary or something like that.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So funny. Fuck, shit, goddamn.
Asshole, what did you say? What'd you say?
What's your next one?
My next one is also It. So
okay.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
So my number 3 is Nightmare on Elm Street. So same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 2 is, and this was like I think it's probably one of the only scary movies that I watched all the way through, and I was like watched it way too young. It was like 2nd or 3rd grade, and was at a sleepover, and somebody's parent was like, "Oh, I think this is a kids movie," and it was Child's Play.
Oh,
and that is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember when Child's Play got they made the new one that came out like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And Zach was letting the kids watch like YouTube videos about like the Mueller report for some reason. My son really wanted to like read the Mueller report. And so while he was doing that, and then an ad for Child's Play came on, and it scarred my kids for like months. They couldn't sleep just because of watching the preview. I know, it's crazy. That was definitely scary. My number 2, this is so like beyond fucked up that like we could even, because I'm pretty sure I think this movie is banned in like most countries.
Yeah.
I think it's banned, but they let me and my sister and our idiot child friends walk into Ziggy's movie rental store and walk out with faces of death. Do you know what faces of death is?
Yes, where it's just like people dying
and people getting murdered and animals getting slaughtered in like the most horrible ways. And I remember there being a thing where like they showed this monkey it's like where it's a delicacy, but what they do is they put a monkey in the middle of a table and everybody bashes its head in, and then they cut it open and they all eat the brains. And it's like, we were chilled like 10 and 12 watching this movie. And I want to say we watched it several times, but I remember just being like, so like, what are we doing, you guys? Like, this is so fucked up. And it totally like, I can't believe we watched that movie and nobody questioned us ever.
I remember feeling like fucked up about it, and just from hearing about people watching it.
Yeah.
Like, and people being like, oh yeah, I got a bootleg copy, or I can't believe you got it at a movie rental place.
Yeah. Yeah. This poor guy, his name was it Ziggy or Iggy's? I want to say it was Ziggy's movie store. And it was like on the main street on like Carlton Avenue in New York, where I lived, and I could walk up to it. It was like 2 blocks from my house. Yeah. And I was such like a movie buff or whatever, and I would just walk up there every day and like talk to him about movies. Like, what's new? Like, what just came out? What'd you think about it? What? And he was like, get this girl out of here. And I remember like, that's how I got my big Terminator poster that I had in my room. Yeah. As a little girl. I've like posted the picture before because it's funny. It was because I was like, can I have this? Like, when you're done with it, can I have it? And I would ask him for things, and I annoyed the fuck out of that guy. But so that's why he was probably like, here, watch this movie. And hopefully you'll never come back. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I know.
Okay. So my number 1 was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the Large Marge scene.
Oh yeah.
So that fucked me up so much.
That was.
And I loved the movie, but that scene, is terrifying.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. I feel like a lot of people would say that about that scene fucked them up.
Yeah, I think it's another one because it was like totally a kid's movie and you just didn't expect it.
It was shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very shocking. Yeah.
Yeah. My number 1 scariest movie that fucked me up as a child. Again, I rented it from Ziggy or Iggy. He let me have it. I was a child, and I remember watching it with my friend Diane in her house. We went and rented it, and it was Children of the Corn. And that movie it's so fucked up because it's all kids, right? And but there's just something about the tone and the eerie vibe to it. It's just so unsettling in 10,000 ways. And that movie, I can't hear the name like Malachi or like without like,
right.
Remember like all the like weird names that all those kids had. It just scared the fuck out of me. And that one, like, God, they were all scary. Every single one of those kids was terrifying.
I think I blocked that out that I had watched it, but I did watch it. I remember being just like so scared by it. I mean, poor like Mennonite people, they must have really gotten it after that movie because everybody was like, no.
I wouldn't go anywhere near corn.
Nope.
Not even at the grocery store.
Oh man. All right. Well, you guys, we want to hear what was the scariest movie you watched as a kid. What fucked you up? Let's get into it, guys.
What fucks you up? What fucks you up, God?
Get in touch with us. You can find us on Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod. You can find us on TikTok at The Ridiculous Podcast. Maybe we'll be on your FYP. I don't know. You could rate and review. You could tell a friend. We would love that.
We would love all of those things. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week on The Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.